Today we're going to talk about how to advise your buyers and your sellers about how to proceed with an environment that includes rising interest rates, or at least the perception or the expectation of rising interest rates. So let's look at both scenarios, first through the eyes of the seller and then through the eyes of the buyer.
Let's do it.
And give some advice. And you got to be careful because you got to be honest and ethical and not be scary, but you want to be transparent and you want to help the clients to understand what they need to do and what's in their best interest. Okay. Now, in theory, if interest rates go up, that means that the cost of capital, the cost of money is going up. As the cost of money increases, the buying power of buyers decreases. Okay. So it's very simple for that from the seller's perspective. In theory, as interest rates go up, buying power goes down, borrowers' ability to buy houses go down, and that lowers demand, which in turn is going to lower value, lower, the marketability, the desirability of a house. So in theory, if you think interest rates are going to go up, you should sell your house now before they go up, before the buyer's borrowing power goes down. So that's a pretty simple explanation, a pretty simple conversation to have with the seller. If the seller's saying, well, I don't know, I think the market's going to crash, or I don't know what's going to happen, or I'm going to wait, or I don't know if I should wait or shouldn't wait, you should say, look, first of all, I always say the same thing. You should sell your house when you're ready. I always say that. And that's the truth. You shouldn't list it today if you're not ready. You shouldn't wait 3 months if you think it's going to be better then, because you just don't know. Right. You just don't. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. You should always buy or sell your house, or you should always sell your house for sure when you're ready to sell it.
Right.
And I say that a lot in the winter months when people ask me, should we wait till the spring? And I say, no. If you're ready to sell it now, we have buyers now. There are fewer buyers in the market now, but there are fewer listings now. So it kind of equals out. From the buyer point of view, it's a little different. Well, it's pretty similar, actually. The buyer says, well, I'm going to wait until the market crashes because I think the market's going to crash. When somebody tells me that the market's going to crash, I always ask them, when? Which day?
That's a good question to ask.
What month? And of course they don't know. It's just a perception. Usually it's based on watching the news too much, to be honest with you. That's where these perceptions come from. But the truth is, if interest rates go up, the cost of capital will go up, which means your buying power will go down, and it will be more expensive to buy the same home. Which also means that you might have to move down into a lower range of houses to be able to fit your affordability on your payment. So for that reason, if you think interest rates are going to go up, you should buy right away. You should buy sooner rather than later. So either side of the coin, it kind of is beneficial for an agent to be able to recommend to a buyer or a seller to move now, which is of course what the agents want, not necessarily what's in the best interest of the buyer or seller. So it needs to line up. But I really believe that it does. If I think interest rates are going to continue to go up, there's no reason to wait to buy a house.
Right.
If the buyer says, well, I'm going to wait till the market crashes, you say, okay, well, how is the market going to crash if the interest rates go up by a point?
Right.
Which is a big increase, but it's not going to crash. There will be a correction. There will be an adjustment.
Yes.
Obviously, this is just my opinion, but the inventory is still so low that rising interest rates are not going to exceed the low inventory. In other words, even if there's some downward pressure on the borrowers, the buyer side of the transaction with affordability and whatnot, we still have a millions and millions of shortages of housing units in this country. Those aren't going to just vanish overnight because the interest rates went up.
No, they're not.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to find some equilibrium. They're trying to bring in more of a balance and kind of cool things off and slow things down. And I believe that will happen. Yeah. I think if all other things being equal, I think if the interest rates go up and up and up, the market will regress towards the mean a little bit. I don't think it'll plummet. I don't think it'll drop. I just think it'll slow down and cool off, which I think is probably good. Believe it or not, because right now there's such an imbalance between the number of buyers and the number of listings that
absolutely.
If we lower the number of buyers, that might slow things down and help things out a little bit. As an agent, I don't think you need to be concerned. I hear agents saying it's Armageddon. Oh my God, they're raising rates. Oh my God.
Yeah.
First of all, chill out. Just chill out. The interest rates are lower than they've ever been in your life.
Yes.
Okay. And if they raise a point or two or three, they're still the lowest rates you've ever seen.
And usually when they do raise, it's marginal. Like you barely even notice it. That's the thing that people don't take in consideration at all.
Yeah, and we don't know what they're going to do, but usually they raise it a quarter point at a time, and they do it once a quarter or whatnot. So yeah, by the end of the year, the rates might be a point higher than they are today. And when you look back a year from now, if the rates went up by a point or a point and a half, and you didn't buy, you're going to regret that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you buy a house today and you look back into the future a year later, I don't think that you're going to regret buying today. I just don't. I don't think you will. You might, but I doubt it. I don't think rates are going to be lower in a year than they are today.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think anybody thinks that.
No.
I mean, all the pressure on the Fed and everything is pointing to the need to reduce inflation right now.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows how that all works or what doesn't work. I don't know. But I know that
we're not economists here, by the way.
when interest rates go up, I know that the cost of capital goes up and that slows things down. But the bottom line here, as agents, you need to know how to pursue this and deal with this, is from the seller's perspective, if rates are going to go up, you should sell now before the buyer's affordability goes down, before the number of buyers in the market decrease.
Right.
Because that makes, with everything else equal, that makes your environment less attractive as a seller. And then as the buyer, when you're talking to your buyers, say, hey, look, no pressure or anything, but if you think rates are going to go up, which we all kind of do, you might as well lock in your rate now, finding a house now before they do. Because over the next 5, 6, 7, 30 years, however long you're in that house for, that's going to be hundreds of dollars in difference.
Oh, absolutely.
So be calm, be patient, be honest with your clients, and understand that you're going to get this objection on both sides, especially on the buyer side. But
absolutely.
You know, if the buyer says, hey, I think the market's going to crash, I think it's a pretty easy answer to say, I don't think it is, because the inventory is still so low, that the supply-demand ratio is still so out of whack.
Yeah.
That this adjustment that they're going to make, these marginal adjustments, in my opinion, are not going to offset that major lack of inventory enough to create a plummet. Right. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I'm pretty confident that that's not the case. The numbers just don't shake it out. In the last recession, we had foreclosures, we had all kinds of different dynamics that we don't have here. We don't see this glut of pre-foreclosure inventory. We don't see that the economy is stronger now than it was then. There are a lot of things going on now that don't line up to the previous recession. So anybody who thinks that a quarter point a quarter is going to create a recession that's catastrophic, I don't believe that's the case.
Right.
And I like to be optimistic and try to hope for the best, but I think that's what you should be doing as an agent as well, trying to back that up with as much data as you can and some common sense, and then lead your clients into the right comfortable decision.
Absolutely.
Go get them.
Go get them.